it's kind of rough sometimes when you become a collector. And, collecting things can either be a great, pastime. It could also be a great way of connecting with other people who are fans of a certain genre or a certain, style of film that you are a fan of. I started collecting figures as of recently, I would say around a year and a half to almost 2 years. I've been actually building a collection of, Funko Pops, of action figures, of, little trinkets from games. I even have a 3D printer, which I actually 3D print certain things to better display these pieces that I have, these action figures and Funko Pops. So all in all, I actually invest a lot of time in making sure that I can display these awesome figurines. Now, this is all great to do, but it is very tough to be on the internet and watch videos of people who are ultimately criticizing the fact that people aren't going in a specific direction when it comes to films, and then having their products not sell. And I kind of have a problem with that. Now, like all collectors, I spend a lot of time on YouTube, watching videos of other people who collect similar things as I do. I collect, figurines that are, for example, the Star Wars Black Series, which has an incredibly long line and lineage of incredible figurines with detail that actually are made for fans. So little tiny details that you just stop and look at, and you're just absolutely mind blown at the level of detail that they have, specifically in a small package. And, I spend not a lot of time, looking at figures or trying to find flaws, because ultimately it's the flaws in a figure that ultimately make it special, But for me, it's not really the physical flaws or anything like that, because to me, I don't see a lot of flaws in these figures. But I feel like people out in the internet will try to find a way to criticize what these figures represent. And I see a lot of videos, and I'm bombarded due to the algorithm throwing these videos my way, talking about people who look at these figures and say like, oh, in the specific case of Star Wars Black Series, I see a lot of people on the internet saying, oh, thanks a lot, Kathleen Kennedy, for what you've done to Star Wars. Thank you a lot. Thank you so much, Kathleen Kennedy, for destroying Lucasfilm. Look what's happening to your figures. And ultimately, that is the type of mindset that I am not here for. I personally am not the type of person who looks at this, at the fact that they didn't sell these figures, and thinks to myself like, they definitely deserve not making a profit. I don't think that. I think of it in a different perspective. I feel like these figures came out, people did not resonate with these figures, and ultimately, they did not sell. But I'm not gonna let Disney scot-free in this case, because I typically see the problem is mainly with Marvel Legends figures and Star Wars Black Series figures. And believe it or not, they're pretty much the same line. Black Series and Marvel Legends are pretty much the same line when it comes to their 6-inch figurines, because they pretty much are from the same company, so they're probably made in the exact same factory. But nonetheless, these figurines are fantastic. I love them. I love the level of detail. I love every little instance. Sometimes there's a flaw. I love it because it just makes it even more unique. But the problem is not that. And I feel like Disney needs to be, held a little bit accountable for something that no one talks about. Now, let me give you a little bit of a preface into the actual situation. Back in the 2000s, when I used to watch TV, a lot of the time, things and toys were always being promoted on TV. Ads. I would get so many ads on TV about different things that are becoming popular, different toys that were becoming popular. Hot Wheels toys that were getting popular, Barbie toys. I remember seeing, ads for like really strange contraptions that you could, build. I remember briefly there was like a Rube Goldberg machine style thing that you could do with certain toys. And I mean, honestly, the ads were convincing. The ads and the promotional material for toys back in the early 2000s was fantastic. I feel that in the 20 plus years since then, I feel like a lot of that has been lost. A lot of that love and dedication into ads to promote toys has been completely lost. And to me, I don't think for any reason or for a second that the problem is people boycotting Disney. I don't think it's them boycotting Disney. I think in part is the fact that Disney has forgotten to put a little bit of love and effort into promoting the things that they want to sell. Now, Disney's fantastic at promoting people going to the parks, promoting the theme parks, going on Disney, on either Disney Channel or any other channel rather, promoting, the theme parks. And I get it. That's where they get a lot of their money. But I feel like a lot of figurines would have gotten more traction if it weren't for the lack of simple ads promoting figures. Now, I get it. If you are not a fan of a certain character, obviously you're not going to buy that figure. That's fine. But when I see certain videos like the ones that I see online, that, a lot of different places are putting up a bunch of Black Series and Marvel Legends figures of characters that we actually care about. I found a Lando figure the other day, which is absolutely amazing. It's part of the Archive series. Really not an expensive figure. I think I paid like $6 on it. And it's of Lando in the quote-unquote bounty hunter type armor that he wears. I mean, really? People are boycotting even fan-favorite characters? I saw a Han Solo figure. Same thing, really cheap. I've seen, characters that people really care about, like Captain Carter. People who became fans of, these animated characters. I mean, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Like, what is going on? Disney doesn't want to make ads for their figures, and people aren't really interested in buying these figures because ultimately it's not a character that they care about. So I think it's a Mod Podge. I think it's a really wild Mod Podge of different, economical things as well. I think the price of certain figures are absolutely exuberant sometimes. Like, I'm going to give you an example, okay? I have this figure right here. This is Makari from Eternals, okay? This is a beautiful figure. Beautiful figure. I mean, you just look at the level of care and detail that they put into this figure. Absolutely amazing, I have nothing but absolute praise for the people who designed this figure and the other Eternal figures as well. And you could probably pick one of these up nowadays in like a discount store for about $5, okay? But originally, this thing was costing like $20 to $25. Like, I don't get it, but this shouldn't cost $20 to $25. Mainly because I don't think it costs more than maybe $1 to make a figure like this. You know, I don't know. Sometimes it feels a bit greedy to see people, you know, put these figures up on a wall and charge $25 for it. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I bought this specific figure online for around $10. I mean, wrap your head around that, you know, from like $25 or $17, depending on what figure you're picking up, to around $10. So, I mean, I don't know. It's really strange to me that I see people complaining. It has to be so-and-so's fault. Oh, it's Kathleen Kennedy. Oh, it's, you know, even Kevin Feige. I see people complaining about Kevin Feige being the one to blame here. I don't see it that way. I feel like what would make this a whole lot better is if they started promoting their figures on TV, you know, like the traditional way. Like, do an ad, show this figure like running like really fast, you know, because, you know, Makari is a fast figure. But if it's a Star Wars figure, take that Star Wars figure, have, you know, like them do like lightsaber battles and that sort of thing. Like this, the type of stuff that we would see when we were kids, you know. Let's see that happen again. I want to see that happen again. You know, that enjoyable, you know, promotion of toys and like that celebration of like our fandoms, you know. I don't see that anymore. You know, I see a lot of people complaining online. I see a lot of people picking up these figures and showing them and saying, hey, these are beautiful figures. I don't know. I really don't get it. It's a really complicated issue that I feel like a lot of people need to look into, because ultimately, us celebrating these things, celebrating the toys that we have, celebrating the, you know, fandoms that we love, is ultimately how we connect. And if these figures are being, you know, sold at super low prices, I don't think entirely it's the fault of the creators who created these characters. But it's also the fault of the people who are actually trying to sell them and not promoting them in such a way, and ultimately not putting them at a price that is fair for the consumer. And I just wish they were a little bit more flexible when it came to that specific situation. But like I've said multiple times, these things are just my opinion. I want to hear what your opinion is. What do you think? Do you think that figures like these should be, you know, essentially vilified in a way for not being good movies or good experiences? I mean, if you're gonna blame this or blame the creators who created this, I think we need to dig a little bit deeper into this specific story, because ultimately it's not this, you know. But then again, that's my opinion. And what do you think? I want to hear from you. Put down in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think that the fault of figures not selling or figures not being sold as much is entirely due to the creators? Or do you think it's entirely Disney's fault for not listening to consumers? Or do you think it's ultimately the price of these figures, you know, being super expensive and ultimately having to be sold at a much cheaper rate? I don't know. I want to hear from you. And while you're down there, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified when new videos go live on this channel. And thank you so much for watching this video. And I'll see you in the next video.
Scrolling through YouTube, same old routine, then bam, movie savant. what a scene. Trivia bombshells dropping knowledge like rain. Forget the dishes, gotta watch it again. Movie buffs unite, savants to place. Subscribe and hit the bell, don't leave a trace. Next level knowledge keeps you in the loop. Savants got the scoop, ain't nothing to recoup.